This is the setup I used to do the time-lapse, comparing the burning characteristic of the oil lamp versus the candle. Here I am starting it up, and as we'll touch on later in the video, how difficult these things are to light. You'll learn later on that's a butane torch. And uh-oh, that one didn't work. Let's try it again. Come on, baby. There it goes. Obviously, the candle's much easier to light. You can just use a regular match. So this is a time lapse that took about 8 1/4 hours, and I added the oil to the oil lamp twice during that time. And you notice the shape of the flame at the beginning compared to the shape of the flame at the end, and it's pretty much identical. So 8 1/4 hours later, it really didn't affect the wick much at all. So now we're going to get into the, see, I basically turned it, I stopped it when it got kind of to the bottom, the bottom there. Now I use the lid to snuff out the flame on the candle, and I'll use the same snuffer lid / base to snuff out the oil lamp. The oil lamp here, it has just a basic little jar, lidded jar, and I created a little ceramic tube that goes kind of in the middle. And at the base of the tube is a hole that allows the oil or whatever you're using to wick up the wick and burn. And here's the same wick I used actually for the time lapse, and it really hadn't moved at all during that whole time. And I actually had been using it quite a bit before that. I've been playing this thing for probably about a year with the same wick. So, and what the material is, it's a carbon felt. It's commonly used for welding blankets and things like that. The first ones I bought here are the ones. Now here's how I determined the length of the wick with a toothpick with a line on it. And the fabric itself is pretty unique. It's made of carbon fibers, and it really does not seem to burn at all. I just cut off a strip. Well, when I'm making them, I just cut off a strip according to the length, and then that becomes the wick. And oil, you can use anything from mineral oil or olive oil. What's really good to use is used deep frying oil. A good use for it, instead of disposing of it, just burn it with the lamp. And it did leave a little residue on there, but nothing too serious. Yeah, here I am using that snuffer lid to put out both as a snuffer and also as a base in case you have a limited amount of space in your bathroom or wherever you want to use it. Now, let's get into the subject of lighting it up. Here you see a refillable butane lighter / torch. It's more of a torch than a lighter, and they work really the best for lighting them, because you have to hold the flame on for quite a while to get it to catch with the oil. And once it catches there, it'll burn until it runs out of oil. The other solution, as I'm going to get into in a second here, is using here I'm talking about there you go. Let's put that out. Now we also have the other solution, which is to use a few drops of kerosene and have that in the bottle there, and put on about 4 or 5 drops of kerosene on top. You'll see me administering few drops on there, and what that does, that kind of works together with the oil and makes it much easier to catch the light with a regular match, and which is I prefer doing it that way than bringing up my torch lighter all the time. But that catches right away, and it takes a few moments, and it'll burn up the kerosene and then start burning the oil. So here you see it's making a bit of black smoke because the kerosene burns better than the oil does. But once it calms down, it transfers the fuel from the kerosene to the oil, and then it burns normally. And they say it'll burn right until the oil's gone. And yeah, and that's it. And then I think I talk about the snuffer again, which I mentioned way too many times, but there it is. There's the snuffer lid. It also works as a base. You get it now? There you go. Yeah, works as a base in case it's in a tight spot. But anyway, I've had a lot of good success with these lamps, and they're a great way to use up the fry oil. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope this was informative. I'll keep you posted on further developments. When I start making some, I'll try to find a way for you guys to buy some if you really want to.